everyone. Thank you so much for being here. If you are new to the Moms on a Mission podcast, our 3 pillars that support our very mission are to educate, awake, and activate. And we are all going to have to become activated if we're going to protect our children and help save our nation and humanity. Today, we are exposing some things that the globalists definitely do not want you to know about, and it will be so important for you to share this episode. We are joined by Hope and Tivon from Fix The World Project Morocco. They are a dynamic husband and wife team, and they are exposing the health implications that are resulting from the globalists attempting to implement the new world order. They have backgrounds in the U.S. Navy, energy engineering, and business. They are pioneering the way in researching transhumanism and how electromagnetic frequencies interact with not just the technology that's been injected into humanity, but many other avenues as well. Get ready, because this conversation, it's truly mind-blowing. Before they join us, I wanted to talk to you about Grid Down, Chow Down, grass-fed, grass-finished, freeze-dried beef. What's so great about this is it's 95% fat-free. When I made it, I had hardly any grease in the pan, so that's great. But also, it's not been injected, and we know it's not been injected because they say so. You know, when you go to the store and you get your meat, legally, these folks don't have to label their meat and say if it's been injected or not. So that's what's wonderful about this. And it lasts 15 years. How great is that? We can just start stockpiling it. Also, they use the entire cow. They don't just use the leftover cuts. There are filet cuts, tenderloin, ribeye. That's why it tastes so great. So if you go to the link below the show, it'll say griddownchowdown.com. If you use that specific link, you'll save 5%. So try some. And when you're doing that, not only are you providing healthy, safe food for your family, but you're also supporting the Moms on a Mission podcast. Hi, Hope and Tivon. Thank you so much for joining me on the Moms on a Mission podcast today.
It is so great to be here, and thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Miriam.
So I am astounded at the extensive research you all have done. It's just profound, all the information you have uncovered and the work that you've done to find this information. I understand it's not readily available, and I understand why. I was just curious how you stumbled upon electromagnetic fields and the damaging effects of them.
Well, I'll let Tivon tell the bulk of the story, but I'll just preempt it by saying that we started making products for ourselves because we were very, very sensitive to that dirty electricity or the electromagnetic frequencies or EMFs that are in our environment all around us, from the cell phones, from the towers. It was making us sick. It was making it so that we couldn't sleep at night. There were all different kinds of health problems. And so for our own personal reasons, we started researching what we could do to help mitigate the symptoms that we were experiencing and try to clean up our environment. And my husband, who is the engineer and the inventor as well, he started putting all his research and background behind it. So how did you discover EMF protection, and take it from there?
Well, it was your mother actually that gave me the sample. She got something from a craft fair, and this particular thing was basically an epoxy plastic puck that had aluminum shavings on the inside. And she got this to me. I was very skeptical at the time because like what Hope said, we both suffered from, we were very hypersensitive. For me, I was actually getting quite ill from it inexplicably. I thought I was in shape. I used to run quite a bit and keep myself fit. But I was getting weaker and sicker, and I was suffering from bouts of insomnia where I wasn't able to sleep for days at a time. So I was at my wit's end, and I was willing to take anything short of taking medication. I tried to avoid that kind of thing. So anyway, I took this and put this in the bed with me. I heard how it was explained is that it does something with changing the fields in the environment. It wasn't really technical for me at the time, but I was willing to try anything. So I put this in the bed with me, and it was the first time I was able to sleep in about 2 weeks, like actually deep REM sleep. And when I went through that experience, yeah, I mean, if anyone who suffers from severe insomnia, and you haven't had it before, but then you go through that, you get desperate because, if you can't sleep, then you're going to die. I mean, you're going to go crazy because you can't function the next day. So that put me on a whole new path of understanding what's going on here, ways of trying to eliminate what other causes were there for me to be so hypersensitive to begin with, and it put me on the journey to trying to understand composites and metals, how sizes of metals in composites can do what they do. Ran across the work of Dr. Wilhelm Reich, the late Dr. Wilhelm Reich, who explained how certain composites are able to change nuclear radiation and electromagnetic fields in the environment due to their physical properties. And this is going back to the 1920s and 30s. And then we just continue in that research and what people are doing today and how they changed that. And I basically started to create this body of work, trial and error testing with different composites. I was bringing in all these powders and doing research and doing a lot of reading, and came across some basic prototypes that were quite ugly at the time. But I was wearing them and I was putting them around the bed in the bed. And
We have it in a frame.
Yes, yeah, it's
Our
framed
first
now.
pendant.
About 7-8 years ago. And then when I got comfortable, then I decided to ask my wife to try it, just to put it on her neck and see how she felt.
Yeah, and it was wonderful. And I just want to say before we go any further that everything in our presentation today and everything on our website is based on the science behind these products and the reasons why they work. We are Christians, and we firmly believe that this is like a natural technology that God gave us to help us to fight off the not so good technology that's being erected all around us with these towers and the cell phones. So even down to things like, you'll see that we make pyramids. Well, there's a scientific reason behind the shape of a pyramid, because it focuses the energy. So we're going to talk about that. So everything that we do is based on science and ways that you can measure that. And it is not new agey or woo-woo. We don't ascribe to any of those teachings or that doctrine. So if people do that are listening to this, that's, everybody's own personal choice. But for us, we are Christians. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that this is kind of like the gift that God gave us to help us with what's been done to humanity.
Yeah, and based on our research and our replications of experiments with seedlings and other things that grew around these composites, we're of the belief that what's happened is that a lot of these solutions that were hidden from society were indeed had a veneer put over them so that people would avoid it, like the plague. And so when we found that out and we took that information and found out what's the core science behind how this stuff operates, it all became clear why like the only place you would see it would be like in a New Age community. So that's going into a deep dive. But right now we're just going to do a presentation on how these things work and how it all comes together.
All right, well, let's get started.
Okay, so we call this EMF Protection Basics, and we've just updated this. We've been talking about this for a few years now, but we've got some relatively new information in here that we definitely want to cover. So our summary is we're going to talk about why we do what we do, the dangers of EMF in a post-COVID transhumanism world, what you can do to protect yourself from EMFs, the science behind it, orgone and shungite. We'll teach you what those things are, how we make our EMF protection products, how our EMF protection products work, more science, blood tests, plants, ice tests, pyramid shape study, the benefits and testimonials. And we do have a blog post with any links that we might be discussing. In that blog post on our blog, there'll be a link below this video where you can go and see that in order to find out more and do your own research.
Okay, so why we do what we do, Miriam? We're Christians, engineers, and scientists, and we feel it's our calling to help inform people about the technology that's being used against God's creation. So when we came across this journey and we're able to help heal ourselves and our family and our friends who were asking about this, we tried to understand what exactly going on and how this tie into things like chemtrails and other areas like clean energy and so forth. So we wrote a book in 2017 called Forbidden Tech. And this is the complete guide to energy, social, and biological technologies they didn't want you to know about. And we have a website where you can actually get an electronic copy of the book. We also have the book in audio format. So if you're driving, you can download it in audio format. Also, we have a video course, which is the video format of the book as well. Our products are all handmade in our small little handmade work factory here in Marrakech, Morocco. They're made by us, and they're basically the same composite, but have different uses and applications for the fridge, for your plants and garden, for your health, to be worn on you or in the bed with you so you can have a good night's rest. And to know more about that, you can go on our website at ftwproject.com. And we have an online engineering academy that is currently being revamped. But we also deal with the co-development, research, and building of off-grid energy devices. These are efficient generator type designs we're working on experimenting with to get people off the grid. And you can learn more about that in cleanenergyacademy.com.
So what we want to bring to light here is the dangers of EMF in a post-COVID transhumanism world, because everything has changed since the whole COVID thing happened. So emerging technologies is a field that all this information is coming from. It's a multi-trillion-dollar industry that's been developing advanced technology that seriously affects human health and can be controlled and influenced by electromagnetic frequencies, or EMFs. This technology is nano in scale and operates in many different frequencies, including the terahertz frequencies. In the industry, these types of nanoscale technologies are called metamaterials. Examples of metamaterials would be graphene and hydrogels and biosensors. The majority of this technology was already deployed in 2017, and a new infrastructure or grid upgrade was established during 2021 through 2023. So now more than ever, it is imperative that human beings protect themselves from the many harmful effects of EMF as it pertains to human health and as it pertains to the infrastructure of this new technology grid that is bringing the human race into transhumanism as part of a globalist agenda. And what you're looking at here in this diagram is something called the Wireless Body Area Network. Basically, they have advanced technology to the point where they are literally hooking up human bodies to the internet and running computer networks through human bodies. This comes from a whole bunch of IEEE papers and all kinds of information from the actual field, the emerging technologies field. So the W-band, Wireless Body Area Network, running computer networks through human bodies through using biosensors controlled by EMF. So all of this is referencing the industry papers, as I said. You can see our research for more in-depth information, but this is the main reason why, because this network has been established through COVID. This is the reason why it is now more important than ever to do something to protect you and your family physically from electromagnetic frequencies. And so our products are one of the many things that you can do and incorporate into your life in order to try to protect yourself.
Okay, so what can you do to protect against these EMFs? There are several things you can do to protect yourself from you and your family. And this isn't like a pill for the catch-all. It doesn't stop everything, but it's one part in the regime that you have to do to adapt to the change and that's being imposed on humanity. So we're dealing with detoxing your body from heavy metals. This is going to become a more important thing for everybody to have to do, because what we're dealing with is battling an aspect of how this grid works. And a lot of it deals with components or bioaccumulation in your body that is related to heavy metals.
The more heavy metals you have in your body, the better of an antenna you are for the frequencies that are being beamed in your environment.
Okay. And that also includes to go with that heavy metal detox. If you're into detox regimes at all, you ran across changing your diet. And by doing that, that will also boost your immune system. And also, depending on who you hear, some people think it's a lost cause. It doesn't matter where you move to, where you go. It's everything. It's everywhere. And don't believe that for 1 minute. We're on a giant planet. So move to a more natural area. Get out of the city. And coincidentally, I have to say, Miriam, when we were going through this revelation of electrosensitivity and what was the cause, we were living in the north of Morocco. We're living in the city, and we're living in the downtown area in this flat that was on the 5th floor and was surrounded by like 4 or 5 cell towers within about 300 meters of each other. So and we're living on, and we're on bed with metal coils as the mattress. And when you have all of that going on and you are sensitive, you will not be able to sleep at all. So
Did you,
also you want to
did you
turn off
notice a
oh,
difference?
go ahead.
Did you notice a difference when you moved before you use an
Yes.
ingredient? Okay, wow.
We moved from there to about 8 hours south in basically in Olive Grove.
Wow.
And it's like this small villa that was on the ground. And the first night, even though we didn't have all the furniture there, the first night it was like just trees and birds.
I could feel
Just
I
grounded.
could feel the trees when I
Yes,
put
it
my
was
head on the pillow,
silence.
because the energy was that different than being in a city
Yes,
with
yeah.
all the electronic
And
buzzing
the
all
buzzing and the
around you.
switches weren't there. Also, you want to turn off all your Wi-Fi at night. And I know, especially if you're someone you think, you're busy, so you'll always need to be attached to your equipment. I mean, we tell friends, there's no reason why you need to have your phone on next to your bedstand. You need to turn these things off, if preferably out of the room. All the computers in the next room need to be off. Turn off, if you have any wireless routers, turn those things off. You don't want to have any signals if as much as you can help it. I mean, obviously, if you're in an apartment with other neighbors, you can't help that, but you want to reduce that around your bed, because your brain, there's organs in your brain that pick up on that Wi-Fi signal, and it's as if someone took a flashlight and shined it in your face and told you to try to go to sleep. It's the same reaction. So those need to be turned off at night.
So let's talk a little bit about the science behind our EMF protection products. It's called orgone, or orgone energy. So in the late 1930s, the late Dr. Wilhelm Reich discovered that living samples placed within containers made from alternating layers of steel and non-conductive organic material were able to harness healthy cosmic energy from the environment. He called this energy orgone. These orgone accumulators had the ability to preserve blood for longer periods of time, sprout healthier plant seedlings, and provide pain relief for his patients who sat inside of them. So today, instead of a box, composites made from a blend of iron oxide, steel, brass, shungite, and crystal powders encased in an epoxy resin produce the same effects and are able to transform the harmless wireless fields from cell towers, smart meters, smartphones, internet routers, and your television into a more beneficial energy for you and your plants and pets. And I did mention, of all those ingredients, we did say crystals. Now, the reason why we use crystal powder is because crystals have something called the piezoelectric effect. It's the same reason why they use crystal inside of computers, inside of watches, and all other different types of technology. It has a scientific effect that helps with the transformation of the field of energy. So this is how our products work.
Okay, so we make our products by hand by mixing all of these metals and crystals into an epoxy resin. So now you have this composite.
It's all in powder form.
So this epoxy, it's a two-part epoxy. If anyone works with epoxies around the home or DIY, it hardens. You mix this two-part epoxy into a solid plastic state as it cures, and it puts pressure on the surface area of the ingredients. So all the ingredients is mixed in. They start to squeeze together as this composite hardens. And now this causes something known as the piezoelectric effect on all of those components, which emits a strong harmonizing field generated by the specific properties of the ingredients. There's a reason why we use these ingredients, and it deals with the way they interact with electromagnetic fields. It is this field that transforms the harmful stray energy from EMFs into healthy, life-preserving energy. We're all swimming in a sea of toxic radiation.
And it's getting worse.
And it's inherently from this
as the years go
technology
on.
that the radiation is inherently toxic to the body, but you can transform that energy. You can't create nor destroy the energy, but you can transform it. So we place our products all around, you place these products all around yourself and your environment for the best effect.
And here's just a quick picture showing photos of us actually making our products. So you see we take all of those different minerals that we were talking about in powder form, mixing them all together, mixed into an epoxy resin. We pour it into a mold that we make ourselves using silicone. We have to let it cure for 24 to 48 hours. Then after it cures, it comes out of the mold and you've got your finished product. And a question people always ask us is, how long does it last? Do I have to recharge it in some way? And the answer is, once it's cured, it lasts permanently forever. It keeps emitting that passive field of transforming energy forever and ever until whenever. There's no diminishing effect on our products at all, and you don't have to recharge them or something like that anyway. So we really need to tell you about shungite. Shungite is in every single one of our products. So shungite is a rare mineral believed to come from an asteroid that can only be found in one place in the world, and that's in Karelia, Russia. It's the only mineral of its kind that contains fullerenes, which have been proven effective in protection from EMFs and also used for cleaning nuclear waste, such as around Fukushima.
Okay, so this mineral is only found in one place on the planet, and it's basically in Russia. So the Russian government has, and its scientists have done a lot of research into fullerenes going back pre-World War I. They were using shungite to clean up, basically clean the water for the soldiers when they had to go somewhere. They use it as part of their filtration process. And like Naima said, it's been used for cleaning disaster sites like Chernobyl and Fukushima. And it's because shungite is a natural supply of these fullerenes within this carbon mineral that they found. So these natural fullerenes have some amazing abilities. For one, it's able to take, it's not on here, but it can take nuclear radiation. And you see this cage structure here. Its cage is created by the carbon atoms. It takes nuclear radiation into its cage. And then over time, that radiation basically dissipates into nothing. So that radioisotope basically disappears. And so the Russian scientists cannot explain why that happens, but these fullerenes can do that. And so what it also does is what you're seeing here is toxic electromagnetic fields come at a certain spin. That's all of our technology, by the way, around these fullerenes and through these fullerenes. And when they come out the other side, through quantum interaction is all you can explain. I know that quantum is thrown around quite a bit. It changes the spin of the field, so the field comes out. It's more biocompatible, so it's changing the nature of that radiation. That's how this stuff operates. And so this is used around things like cell towers. You can put it around cell towers. You put it around your home. What you're doing, you're changing the conditions of your environment, because these toxic fields are also toxic to your plants. If you're growing a garden or just, around your property, or you notice like in certain areas where there's patches of forest near a city and the city has new cell mass, as the trees start dying, it's inherently toxic to life. So by having such technology, it has huge implications if the society was willing to use this en masse as far as transforming and cleaning up their environment.
So here's 4 different types of tests that were done by different researchers that show how the products can be measured, because we usually get people asking, well, how can I measure if your products are working or not? How can I measure the field? How can I measure its effect? And a lot of people think that it's just a matter of just buying some kind of a meter.
A tri-field meter or something.
Like just a meter and just measure what are you measuring? It's difficult to measure energy that's being transformative. But if you look at it this way, with these experiments that were done, this shows you how you could measure the positive effects. So we got 4 different things right here. Is something called the Reich blood test. Want to tell us about that?
Okay, so the late Dr. Wilhelm Reich, he did a blood test with his original accumulators that we talked about earlier that were made from layers of metal and non-metal, okay? And he had a bunch of volunteers give 2 samples each. One sample of blood was going into a control box, a wooden box. So no changes made to that, it's just there to observe. The second sample was the one that's under test, put into these organ accumulator chambers. And what they found is that blood sample inside the accumulator, it took longer for it to decay. When blood leaves the body, it starts to decay. So what you're measuring is the decay rate. And what they found is that it took much longer, up to 70% longer, for the blood to decay within an organ accumulator than the one in the wooden box.
Or another way of saying it is it's a fountain of youth for the blood. It stops your blood from dying as quickly, to have that orgone energy field, because it's a life-supporting field of energy.
So what you're seeing in the photo on the left is the sample that's in the accumulator. Blood gets misshapen when it starts to decay. It loses its round shape, and you create these spiky protrusions called ribosomes on the surface.
Yeah, so these ones, the little spikes on them.
So on the right is in the control after 50 minutes of blood taken from the body, which is important because we don't actually know what happens to blood when it starts to decay, what it looks like. This is what it looks like.
Yeah, so the slide on the right shows that the blood is dying much quicker. This had no orgone energy on it, right? This is the normal decay rate. And the slide on the left shows just a couple that are starting to decay, whereas the rest of the blood remained healthy for,
and it's still free floating. It's not starting to clump together.
yes, much longer. So, and you said 70%.
Yeah, 70%. Yeah, the actual paper was 70%.
70% longer. So there's the right blood test showing what it does to the blood when you have orgone energy around you. It makes you feel so much better too, and that's probably why. Let's talk about the seeds up here. These are seeds that were done by the University of Pennsylvania. They did a study.
Yes. So same thing in this study. They had a control wooden box for one group of seeds, and then another accumulator box for the seedlings. That's the sample on the right, actually. And they were watering the seedlings regularly, but then they were putting them within their boxes to see the germination rate and the health and length of the tails that were sprouting from the seeds. Obviously, the one on the right is much more germination, much healthier seedlings or sprouts coming in that test. And the thing with the right blood test, the RBT test, and the this test here with the seedlings, what they both have in common is that, in fact, the conclusion from the University of Pennsylvania for the seed test, they said that the box is able to absorb cosmic energy from the environment. That's all they called it, cosmic. They're like, this is a scientific paper out of university. Cosmic energy was absorbed into the water that was inside the chamber. And then the seeds absorb the water. So they're absorbing this energized water. And we've heard of this before, dealing with water having ability to retain, absorb energy and information. And so the same thing with the blood here. The blood is absorbing within the chamber is mostly water. And also the water is absorbing that cosmic energy that's being accumulated inside these accumulators due to the material properties.
Now, for me, with this particular study with the seedlings, I kind of go a little deeper with my understanding because, you know, if you believe in God, and it talks about God spoke things into existence and things existed in an unseen spiritual realm before they manifested into a physical realm, seeds are just that. Seeds are like these little packets of information and potential, and what comes out of them is based on the quality of the information of the environment around it. So when you see a whole bunch of seedlings that are doing very, very well, it's because it's happening in that unseen realm. It's got that nurturing environment to bring out more potential for life in that unseen realm. So I always think of that when I look at this particular study. Some people might liken it to something called the morphogenic field, where things come from, you know, and it's a very, very interesting phenomenon to see. Now, also below that, speaking of gardening, we have gardens here. We've got like almost 100 garden beds that we've dug, and we're growing this like oasis of food in a desert climate because we've got orgonite all over the place. So what happens is, and we also use permaculture methods as well, in addition to the orgone energy. So it's not just one thing. But here's an example of a garden bed. On the left, there was no orgonite, and the plants did very poorly. And then on the right, they put some orgonite into the plant bed, and you can see the difference in size. So you've got pictures all over of people getting bigger plants, bigger yields in their crops, because the orgone energy in general creates that life-preserving energy that the plants need, because all of the stuff that they're spraying, all of the towers that are around our properties everywhere, it affects the crops and the plants and the trees as well. you know, so in addition to the animals, we find our animals, we have a lot of pets. And so we're finding our pets always sleeping on top of the organite because they like the energy of it. So even if it's hidden, like if it's a sleeping pod that's underneath the blanket and you don't see where it is on the bed, the cat will go right and just sleep right on top of it because because they're sensitive to the energy. And one last test here is something we call the ice test. And this is how you can freeze water and you freeze the fields of energy that's being generated by the orgone plates.
So this is a commonly replicated test at this point, Miriam. You can go online and type in orgone ice test. And what people are actually doing is they're getting food coloring and they're putting it inside the water before they start. So it's basically distilled water. You want to do the control first because what we found is these fields actually have a permanent effect in the fridge. So what you do is without the plate, without any orgonite at all, just take normal or just distilled water, put it inside the freezer, food coloring mixed in, thoroughly mixed inside, get it so it just freezes like normally, and you're just record the video, do a video or photo, and just observe how the ice looks as it's freezing. And then you do the same thing again, but this time take the orgonite plate and put it underneath and sit it and let it freeze, and then observe how that looks in comparison. And this has been done all over the place. These are very much analog tests to show the effectiveness of the composite that you're using. There isn't anything that can give you a number or a reading. These aren't meant to block radiation. Rather, more like the information comes through is changed. So there's nothing that can measure that. So we're just trying to approach it that way. Now it happens, our components, our composite actually does have some absorbing properties. Ours do that, but that's not why we made it. We made it to change the field around things. So that's more biocompatible.
Now, let's talk a little bit about pyramids and the science behind that shape.
Okay, so this research is based on the work of Alexander Golod. He did this work in the late 90s and through the early to mid 2000s. He was a Ukrainian defense contractor and scientist, and he was commissioned by the University of Moscow to perform pyramid research experiments that involved using expensive military helicopters. Basically, so he was going all around Russia on the outskirts of the rural areas of Moscow, erecting these 10-story tall fiberglass pyramids, no metal frame at all, no metals, just basically like wooden and composite cladding with fiberglass cladding tiles to make these pyramids that you can walk inside of. He made a couple of dozen of these, him and his team, around Russia, also in the Russian oil fields. And then they started to just observe what were these pyramids doing, okay? And this is the kind of stuff that in other parts of the world, they don't mind doing experiments like this because the whole point of it is that it can be replicated and done over and over again. So there's no, nothing occult over it. So what they found is that they took military helicopters and found that they were measuring an ion column coming out of the apex of these pyramids that were going into the atmosphere that these pyramids were generating. What they also found is that rare plants that were thought were extinct in the area around the base of the pyramids were coming back. Mm-hmm. So that was unusual. Some other strange effects inside the pyramid included water samples that were left in the cold Russian winter that was far below zero. They'd go inside the pyramid and they'd find that the samples of water were still liquid, and
they hadn't frozen.
They hadn't frozen even at sub-zero temperatures. So they would take only when they picked. I've already seen the video of this. They took the glass water inside the pyramid, they picked it up, and then they flipped the glass, and it went from liquid to solid. So only when they disturbed that what was happening there did the water change.
It instantly froze.
Turned right to ice.
I would love to see that video. That sounds so cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I can find that clip, it's amazing. So they filed a patent, him and his team filed a world patent. And what they found is that the pyramids have the ability to change the viscosity. So I told you when they set a couple of dozen over oil fields. Well, they found that the field that these pyramids were generating, and these are large fiberglass pyramids, not like the composite that we're using. They were changing the viscosity of the oil. So if the oil was thicker, like molasses, it's difficult to pump out of the ground. Well, it made it less viscous. It was easier to pump out of the ground. So obviously, if you have a technology that can take viscous oil and turn it into a thinning crude that you can pump out of the ground, and it's doing it passively just by being erected over the site where there's the oil deposit. So that was a world patent.
Yeah.
Instant world
Wow.
patent, imagine. So there was a lot of things that came out of this research. And it is why the part that we're taking advantage of pyramids by their natural geometric shape and their ability to affect the electrical conditions of the earth. We use them as a means of dissipating the chemtrailing that is happening over your home. The negative ions that are in the environment go up through the apex, and what you'll see is a breakup of whatever aerosol activity was happening above you. So if they're laying down chemtrailing over your entire neighborhood from miles and miles, what you'll end up seeing is in the web, blue patches start to appear around you, and everywhere else, it's like a constant sheet. And that is the change in the electrical activity that's being done by having these pyramids in your environment. And it's sending electrical current upwards, negative ions upwards, and it's binding with those positively charged aerosols and sending it up from your area.
It's like pushing it away.
It's like pushing it away
from your house.
So, and it can go on for miles depending on the humidity and other factors, because this kind of energy also attracts water droplets. So if you're in a drier climate, the effect is more profound. But if you're in a more humid area, then the effect is more localized because of that. So
they did an experiment in the country next to us in Morocco, in Algeria, and they used orgone energy and Wilhelm Reich technology, where they aimed the energy up into the sky.
Cloudbuster.
And it was called the Cloudbuster, and it created a lot of rain, enough rain that they could grow crops and feed an entire village in the deserts of Algeria. So that was like another fascinating experiment that was done with this particular type of energy.
I'd like to ask a quick question, if I could, about the pyramids. So how do you know what size to make these in?
We literally started. We started with something that was, I guess, within my budget. That was how I knew the base.
That works.
I just started with something that's small. So if there was a base was 10 by 10 centimeters, maybe slightly smaller than that.
And easier too. It's easier to more portable.
When you start dealing with larger, and we start going, like, even if you double that, then you actually you're tripling the volume. So it ends up being cubed the volume. So it gets more and more bigger.
So you don't need a certain size for efficacy.
No.
So yeah, there's two approaches. One is if I had the materials like a giant mold to do a giant pyramid, that would be a very effective pyramid. But you can also do, kind of like the way telescopes are done, is you have an array of smaller ones. And an array of smaller ones, like 3, 4, 5 or more pyramids, are as effective as one big one.
Oh, that's fun. Well, I like the concept because no one would want this visible anyway. And with them being smaller, you put them around your house. I mean, then people don't, and they're working at the same time.
Yeah, that's what we do. We
put them around your house.
We hide them. We put them around corners on the ground, or within little installations and stuff around our home. On the roof, so you don't see them, because we know they're capable of dissipating the aerosols around our area. And also your plant life, you just start to see a general improvement in your plant life. If you're in a place for longer than about 2 or 3 years, you will start to see a general change in the plants.
And is there a number that you recommend for a standard size home?
We always start with packs of 4, and then just build from there depending on what your budget allows. But we start with packs of 4 just to put around your house, immediate home, to set that condition around your house.
And we have on our website a special offers page that does sell them in packs of 4. We also have like a garden kit if you're interested in the outdoor gardening, where it comes with 4 pyramids and about 8 of our garden pucks, so you can spread the pucks throughout the garden with the pyramids on the corners
Yes.
of the garden. So packs of 4, but we've had people who own very large properties, ranches and things like that. And obviously they have a lot invested in their property, in their animals, in their crops, and they really want to do all they can to keep everything clear from their property to, especially things like milk production in
Yes.
cows.
Yeah.
EMF decreases the amount of milk that farmers can get from cows. So if you do things to help with the EMF on your field and at your farm, you can get more milk
It
production.
also wreaks
and more
havoc with
food
the bees.
production.
Also wreaks havoc with the bees as well.
Yes, the bees are very, very sensitive to the EMF. So by taking care of the EMF problems on your property and your home, it helps to bring those bees back that can pollinate your crops. So there's a lot to be said.
We just want to briefly go, we're almost done with the presentation, but mention that in a recent article back in 2018, an international research group, they went to the Great Pyramid of Giza and started doing all kinds of research with these pyramids to investigate electromagnetic response of these pyramids to radio waves. And basically, under certain conditions, the pyramids can concentrate electromagnetic energy in its internally inside its chamber and also beneath the pyramid. And they found that certain frequencies, what you're looking at, certain frequencies, when it went through the pyramid, it was taking these frequencies and it was channeling these frequencies into but the energy was accumulating underneath the pyramid due to its properties, the pyramid properties, to show that these pyramids have the ability to change energy, to change electromagnetic energy. So this was a huge discovery, in science, basically.
And with that said, these are the different products that we've got. Our #1 bestseller by far are our sleeping pods for a good night's sleep. But we also make charge plates, which is a flat plate design. You can use them around the home to preserve your food as well. So like people like to use them to put bowls of fruit on, or you can put them in your fridge to help preserve your fruits and vegetables, especially if you're trying to eat organic fruits and vegetables. You know how quickly those can go off. So this will help to preserve the life of the food in your fridge. It made my romaine lettuce last a month once. That was incredible to me. So
Wow.
yeah, it's really good. Also in the freezer too. It helps with, we do a lot of food prep and long-term food storage in our home.
Like canning and things like that.
Canning and deep freeze and things. So we always have these in our freezers as well. And it really helps to keep that food fresh instead of getting all that horrible freezer burn and where things start to go off. So we use them for food preservation. Also, we've got phone shields. You can use these on your cell phone. It's just it's a standard size sticker of sorts. I got one here. Right. And you just stick it right onto your phone. It fits all different phone models. You can put it on the back of your router. You can put it on the back of your laptops, any kind of smart TVs that you might have to help mitigate the EMF that's coming out of those appliances. We have our pendants, of course, in a few different colors. We also sell them in family sets of 5, so you can share them with everybody in your family. These are the pyramids that I was mentioning earlier, and also garden sets as well. These are our garden pucks that you can use for gridding your home, property, garden for EMF protection on a large scale. And we also make construction tiles. They come in a plain design or a Moroccan design, and these are for incorporating EMF protection into any of your home construction projects. Like let's say you're redoing your bathroom and you wanted to turn your bathroom into like an EMF protection therapy room where it's, because the shungite itself helps to structure water. So that's a whole field of information that's really interesting if you look up the science behind structured water and how that changes the molecular structure of the water and makes it much, much more healthy for you to drink or for you to bathe in. So, for example, we just installed a pool and we put these tiles, we spaced them out around the pool, which is actually helping to structure the water in the pool. And when you swim in the pool, it's like the fountain of youth. It feels absolutely amazing. It takes away like aches and pains for us. These are just our personal experiences. So we've got the tiles for any kind of construction products. And on our website, we've got a whole bunch of testimonials that you can read from all of our customers. We've been making these and shipping them all around the world since 2017.
2017, yeah.
I think we've just hit over 20,000 customers now.
Wow.
So it's been an unbelievable blessing because we love making this stuff. We love
and some of the feedback
sharing this. We get amazing feedback from people, and
Yeah.
We also love knowing that we're helping people. They've written all different kinds of interesting testimonies about what it's been like using our products to pain relief,
Yes.
being able to sleep better.
Pain relief is a big one, and sleep, lack of sleep.
And, since you've got Moms on a Mission, here's one of our testimonies here. They wanted to tell us that they love the pendants. They got a family set and they looked really nice. Okay, so their younger son has ADHD, along with several severe allergies that made it very hard for him to stay calm. The moment we put your pendant on him, his behavior immediately changed for the better. He says he feels peaceful and is no longer agitated. I can't thank you enough how much your pendant has helped my son's peace of mind. We've gotten a bunch of testimonies from parents who have children who are sensitive to the EMFs, and they said, I just want to hold the pendant because it made them feel better.
Yeah.
So, it's really very rewarding, the different kinds of testimonies that we're getting. And these are just a short list of the benefits of our products: better sleep, stress relief, pain relief, a healthy home environment, better seed germination and plant growth. It preserves your food and fresh food, and extends the shelf life of your fruits and veggies. And it also helps you to maintain healthy blood. And with that said,
that's
any
amazing.
questions?
Well, I wanted to point out that health.com says a third of Americans, and I'm sure this is a global situation, but a third of Americans have difficulty falling asleep and staying asleep. And I believe that there is just a real issue with this. And if people are tired, they don't think as clearly, they're more easily controlled. They're not using critical thinking skills to the best of their abilities because they're tired and their brains just aren't clear, they're fuzzy. And so I think this is so incredible. And what I like about this is, even if somebody is not EMF sensitive and maybe they don't have a lot of pain, or they sleep pretty well, this is just proven science. And why would you not get some of these items and just get the sticker for your phone, or these pods to sleep with, or what have you, and put a few pyramids around your house? Why would you not, when we know scientifically, we know that this is proven, and we know that it's proven to harm us?
Yes.
Absolutely. And we've had a lot of people that they just try something small, a pendant or something, and then they come back. We have had a lot of repeat customers as well over the years. They come back, 2-3 years in a row, and they get a little more at a time to just kind of, grow their EMF protection collection around them, to fortify their home.
Well, I wanted to share my screen as well. And I wanted to have you all say, how can the Moms on a Mission listeners, how can they find these products and purchase them?
Yes, so go to our website. There's a link below this video, and that is our affiliate link with Moms on a Mission. So when you use that link, it helps to support the wonderful work that you're doing, Miriam. And we really love your mission, by the way. We loved reading about your story and your background, and we think that it's really very needed that people like you are out there doing what you're doing to stand for the truth, because there's so little of it these days, right?
That's right. Or, and it's been maimed and really twisted so that you're not getting true data. And that's what I love about what you all are doing, is that this is based on science. And, the Bible talks about how the devil perverts, he comes to kill, steal, and destroy, and he perverts truth. And I think that's why it's so important that when you hear the word crystals, or you hear these words, that maybe some new age folks have taken this truth and this science and they've twisted it, and they've elevated this above God, but it doesn't diminish the truth of this science, and that God has given this to us to help heal our bodies. He's given us clean food to heal our bodies. He's given us sleep. He's given us a great immune system that we need, like you referenced, we need to really build up. But these items, this is a gift from God that he's put in the planet, in the earth, and he's given to help heal us. And I just absolutely love this. And so we'll have the link below the show. And if you go to those notes and you click on the link, then you'll get straight to the site and be able to order these. And I'm going to place an order today. I was waiting to have the interview with you. I wanted to hear your presentation, but I'm going to purchase a lot of these things because I believe that we can even have some small issues. We can have some headaches and we can take Advil. Well, what if our headaches went away because of these products? And so I think that this is really wise, just to be prepared and to start working on these damaging EMFs that we're dealing with on a daily basis.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
Well, thank you all so much for joining the Moms on a Mission podcast. We cannot thank you for your research and developing these products. I know that it probably was daunting to start a company from scratch like this, but from me to you, I want to say thank you for doing this and providing healing and relief for people worldwide, not just Americans, not just Moroccans, but people worldwide. I just want to say thank you so much.
Oh, well, you're very welcome. And thank you. And it was daunting.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it was just me and Tivon, and we were up until 3, because we kept selling stuff. People wanted more and more and more. And we were up until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning trying to fill the orders and
standing and polishing,
looking at each other. We're like, we're going to need help. So we literally built a factory on our property and hired people. And now we've got a team. You could see all that on our website as well. Yeah, we have blog posts there that say, come and join, see inside the factory, meet the team, meet the artisans that we all trained on how to make this. So yeah, it was daunting in the beginning, but it was so rewarding. It's a real, God took this and turned it in and blossomed it into something amazing.
Amen.
Isn't that so amazing how he can just inject his wisdom, inject his knowledge and his anointing and his blessing. And then you can say, look what the Lord has done. And so
amen.
It's really neat to be a vessel of healing, a vessel of God to provide healing in this way. So it's ftwproject.com. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. So we can go there and order ours today. You'll see my order coming through in just a few moments. So I'm going to go order some things. So thank you both. And I look forward to having you back on so we can talk more about the transhumanism and the whole agenda. I think that's fascinating. And for us to just know what's coming down so we can prepare.
We're always doing research. So we look forward to being able to share our findings with your audience next time.
Thank you. And thank you all so much for listening. If you have any comments or questions, we would love to hear from you. You can email us at moms@momsonamission.net. That's moms@momsonamission.net. And then our website is momsonamission.net. And then we'd love for you to follow us on Rumble. We are on all streaming platforms, but that one is the most uncensored. And so if you just go to Rumble and type in Moms on a Mission at the top and then click the follow icon, and then you'll be notified when all new episodes are released. And thank you all so much for listening, and God bless. In light of recent bank volatility and skyrocketing inflation, diversification is a must. That's why I use my good friend Andrew Sorcini at Beverly Hills Precious Metals. Beverly Hills Precious Metals makes it so easy to diversify. I personally ordered some silver and it arrived on my doorstep just a few days later. They make it so easy. And if you're not ready to do that and you just want to ask a few questions, they're there for you too. I personally got some silver and also am rolling over some of my IRA. You can actually roll over your IRA and have it be backed by silver and gold. So if you don't have any extra money to invest in silver and gold, rolling over a 401k or an IRA, or even part of it, if you just want to try it at first, just for a little bit, you can do that as well. So go to bh-pm.com today and ask all your questions. You can connect with somebody. And like I said, you can just get some information at first if you want and pray about it, and then get back with them to roll over part of your IRA or all of it, or order some gold and silver. That's bh-pm.com. and tell them that Moms on a Mission sent you. Hey, everybody. Did you know that recent research from the CDC says that millions of Americans develop parasitic infections and symptoms often go unnoticed or are misdiagnosed? Parasites are actually the cause of many health problems such as anxiety, depression, chronic pain, fatigue, and unexplained digestive issues. We all need a common sense strategy to improve our health. Moms on a Mission encourages you to reach out to our good friend, Dr. Jason Dean. Dr. Dean's Full Moon Protocol provides all natural detoxification and fights inflammation. And the supplements are made with 100% organic ingredients and are proven to kill parasites safely and effectively. I know after I took Full Moon Protocol, I had more energy. To order your Full Moon Protocol today, go to bravetv.store/mission to save $20 off your first order. That's bravetv.store/mission. According to leading sleep experts and sleephealth.org, over 50 million Americans struggle getting a good night's rest. That's why Moms on a Mission loves MyPillow. MyPillow makes amazing pillows, sheets, mattress toppers, robes, towels, literally almost everything you need for a good night's sleep. They also make dog beds for your dogs. So by going to mypillow.com, typing in the code MISSION, you not only receive a high quality product, but you're supporting Moms on a Mission and this podcast. If you like what you're hearing and you agree with it, you believe in it, and you want to support Moms on a Mission, then go to mypillow.com today and order some high quality products and just type in the code MISSION at checkout and you can save up to 66% off. That's mypillow.com, code MISSION.
Since 2014, Organic Body Essentials has offered clean, simple, certified organic skincare. Our organic face-to-feet and federally compliant hemp and pet products are manufactured under USDA and FDA guidelines. Our products are inspired by God using plants He created. In Ezekiel 47:12, it says, "The fruit is for food and the leaves for healing." We believe in the power of God to heal, so we pray over our products and for our customers. Our therapy in a bottle approach has been widely received, and our customers' testimonials continue to inspire us. You can find us at organicbodyessentials.com and obe.organicbodyessentials.com. Please feel welcome to reach out with questions. Use coupon code MISSION at checkout for a discount. Thank you for your support by using MISSION at checkout to benefit Moms on a Mission and their quest to reestablish traditional values in our education system and empowerment for a healthy lifestyle.